We know Twitter has a fake news problem, but what you might not know is just how little has been done about it. Last November, Twitter co-founder and CEO Jack Dorsey promised a crackdown, saying, if it is intending to mislead, we need to understand and pick out the misinformation, and then our job is to make sure it doesn't spread. And yet, one recent study suggests 80% of the troll accounts active during the 2016 U.S. election are still active. Another says Twitter's problem with bots and fake news has actually grown since 2016, that there could be as many as 6 million bits of fake news on Twitter every month. But here's the thing, Twitter's problem is not just fake news. Sometimes the news is real, but the people appearing to retweet them aren't. They're foreign trolls or bots using algorithms to search for tweets of real or fake news to generate conflict. Twitter did a massive data dump and identified more than 9 million tweets coming from trolls. So what happens when the target is Canada? A CBC News Radio-Canada investigation took a look at the tweet dump, looking for hashtags related to Canadian issues. And they found tens of thousands. And here's what's interesting. On a single day in 2018, the bots went wild. Joining me from Montreal to talk about this, who's behind it and what's it about, is Radio-Canada's Jeff Yates. So, Jeff, why don't we leap right in and give our audience an example of what a troll tweet might look like. Twitter offered up this one as a tweet spread by a foreign troll. It's from Mike Hudima. He's a Canadian environmentalist with Greenpeace, and he's making the case against pipelines. It was retweeted over and over. So, Jeff, why would a troll be so interested in retweeting a Canadian environmentalist?
Yeah, so what they're trying to do is to amplify opinions that are already there. They're trying to steer the conversation by sharing messages published on Twitter by Canadians, and so like by retweeting a Canadian activist, they're kind of trying to pass off as being a Canadian Twitter account. Basically, it makes it look more authentic. So it makes the whole thing look more authentic. But what they're really trying to do fundamentally is amplify what's already there.
So why would they want to do this? Because this is an actual piece of real information. The suspicion here is that this came from an Iranian troll.
Yeah.
What would possibly be the interest from Iran?
So Twitter can't say definitively that these accounts are run by the Iranian government. So they can only say with fair certainty that they are run out of Iran and that they look like they're participating in influence campaigns on Twitter. There are some educated guesses that we can make about this. So one, they might be trying to infiltrate activist circles on Twitter to build up an audience and to use it for something else at a later date. They also might be trying to make pipeline projects fail in Canada. We know that Iran has certain interests in blocking the pipeline projects to protect their market share in Asia, for instance. So it might be one of those things we don't know for certain because, of course, these accounts have disappeared.
Pipelines, huge issue here. I think you found other examples involving issues of immigration. These are hot topics. Do Canadians need to be aware that there are foreign trolls at work in our accounts?
Yes, of course. Fortunately, the Twitter accounts that we were looking at were deleted by Twitter, so they're no longer there. So that potential influence campaign is not there, but we don't know what else is out there. So we need to be looking at what we're sharing online. If we're seeing a message on Twitter that's been retweeted by an account, maybe try to look at that account. If it's all retweets and if there's a really high number of retweets, we're talking hundreds of retweets per day, that might indicate that it's an automated account. So just be careful about who you're following on Twitter, and be aware that there are artificial influence campaigns on social media. I suspect there's some other things out there. I mean, one of the accounts that we were looking at had tweeted 300,000 times, and it was only deleted, at the end of last year. So 300,000 tweets is a lot of activity. It's fairly certain that wasn't a human being. So it would seem very easy to detect, and it took years for Twitter to take it down.
So in the old days, we were afraid of trolls with fake news. Now we need to be aware of how real news is used?
Exactly. It is a weird thing to think about. And what we were looking at in this case, like you said, it wasn't fake news. It was actually real opinions by real Canadians. You know, they were retweeting Canadian newspaper articles and stuff like that. So, you know, we just need to look at what they're trying to do with this, and try to find out what they're trying to amplify, and maybe try to find out why they're doing it.